Okay, welcome you guys. Thanks for coming tonight to this team call. I'm very excited to have Elizabeth Weeks with us tonight. She is actually not on my team. She is she's somewhere, a sideline somewhere, I'm sure, and on our genealogy. But I met her 2 leaders retreats ago in Dallas, and we met actually. We were about to go see Brian Regan. He's a comedian, and she and her husband John were at the door waiting for the doors to open. And so my husband and I were walking up, and we saw them. And Elizabeth, wasn't it just like we had just known each other forever? I mean, we just started talking, and we hung out that whole weekend as much as we could, and it was just so much fun. So and we've just really kind of connected ever since. And so she is awesome, and I love learning from her. And she has 4 amazing, beautiful kids and an amazing husband. And you live in St. Louis, right?
Uh-huh.
I don't know why I want to.
Yeah.
I don't know why I want to put you in another state. I don't know, but so we're excited to have her co-hosting. So Elizabeth, I have heard of Bob Heilig before, but sweet Elizabeth encouraged me. Really, she held me hostage, and she's like, "You're doing this with me," and she encouraged me, and I'm so glad she did. She encouraged me to start this legacy leadership training with Bob Heilig back in January. And we joined for only $1. And we got a whole month of training with him for the month of January. And so we're learning a lot of great things through his training. It has a little bit different perspective than what maybe some of us are a little bit more familiar with the Plexus training and from our Plexus leaders. So this has been really great. To be able to get a little bit different perspective. So I am thankful for that. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to talk tonight. It's about purpose-driven prospecting is what it is. And it's really about, and I titled, this graphic, Creating Your Breakthrough Year. And so I'm so excited to be able to bring you guys Bob Heilig's trainings. If you guys have an opportunity to see him live or to do his training, he does a legacy leadership training. It's really fantastic. And so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Get your pens and papers ready. If you're a note taker, this is a great one to take notes. It's really fantastic. So, okay. So I'm do something real quick. Not letting me do. Oh, well. Let's see. Okay, there we go. All right, so first of all, and some of this may seem a little basic for you guys, and when I first was doing this training, this particular call with Bob, I don't know if you felt the same way, Elizabeth, but I felt, oh, I know this. I know how to share my why. I know how to reach out to people, but I did.
Absolutely.
And so I'm so thankful that I stuck it out and I was listening to this call because it really does give it in a different perspective. So what he talks about is about the purpose-driven prospecting is whenever you are sharing the hows and the whys of your company, then that's just the features and the benefits. And it's not always going to get people to say yes or to get them started because it's not inspiring them. The how and the whys of what you're doing and why you're taking the products, the hows and the whys, the hows and the whats of it, sorry, not the why, the how and the what, they're just features and benefits. So what we have to do is, those are just logical reasons of why we're doing it. What and how are logical, but we have to be able to relate to people. We have to be able to get on an emotional level because we are, as humans, we are emotional beings. So if you can get someone to relate to me, I'm going to be more apt to hear what they have to say, to be more invested because I can relate to them on some level. So that's why we have to talk about telling people our why. This is what's purpose driven. So people are going to buy your why before they're going to buy your what and your how. So that's why we have to create the impact goal, which is the why. So this is starting by examining the events and the situations that's leading you up to why you started your network marketing business in the first place. So that's what is so important. So many people, if you think about it, so many people are lacking in 5 different areas. And these areas are time, money, security, health, and purpose. Okay? Time, money, security, health, and purpose. So out of those 5 things, which one or two jump out at you the most? So you figure that out, and then you write your story. Some people can relate to all 5, but if you can find 1 or 2 that you can relate to the most, that just really jump out at you, that's what's going to be more of the relatable, that relatable key that you have that you can share with people, because it's going to be more passionate to you what you're able to relate with. And success. So as far as why you're doing what you're doing, to say I want to be successful is just not enough. It's just not, because you have to make that mind shift from success to significance. So to be successful is great. To be able to say, I achieved these ranks. And to listen, when Christy achieved this rank today of Sapphire, I know that she was ecstatic. I know that she is just on cloud 9. And she gets a pay raise. She gets, the recognition. She gets in a whole nother group of leadership training and resources. But you know what? Her succeeding to that rank and her getting that pay raise is not enough. She knows this. All of us should know this, because whatever rank you're getting, whatever paycheck you're getting, that's not enough to sustain you. It might be a reason why you start, but that's not going to be what sustains you. So you have to think about what the significance was that made you start your business in the first place. We're impacting the world, you guys, one person at a time. Regardless of what your business is, regardless of what brought you to this business, we are living out a unique purpose. You have to find out what that is. Success and money is not enough to sustain you through the hard days, to sustain you through the no's, to sustain you through having personal stuff going on, and you still got to come home after working and kids and marital issues and traffic and whatever it is. You still have to come home and work your biz, so you have to be able to find out what inspires you, what is whatever it is that you're able to jump up out of bed. And believe me, there's going to be a day where once you can find what is inspiring you to live each day, you're going to be able to jump out of bed and you're going to be able to say, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. So this is when when you find that significance, this is when you're going to start writing your story. Okay. So the first thing in writing your story is, the more specific the memories, the better for this process. Okay. So whatever the memory is for you, what are the details, the feelings and the lessons you learned? That is what's going to lead you to your most relatable why. Okay. Don't just say, I just want to try something new. And, no, that's not going to be something that is inspiring you or others that are listening to you that want to relate to you. It's not going to be enough. So you have to think about the details. The more specific the memories, the better. Next, you have to think about what were the key experiences and the people in your life that shape who you are today. Who had an impact on your life? For the better or for the worse, you want to try and keep it as positive as possible. But who are the people that made that impact on you? Was it a school teacher? Was it a boss? Was it a friend? Was it a family member? What are those key people in your life that shaped you to be who you are today? Next is, what major challenges or struggles did you have to overcome to be where you are today? Was it working 3 jobs and you had to find the nooks and the crannies? Was it the challenges of health issue? Was it financial issue? You didn't want to spend the $34.95 to become an ambassador, or you didn't want to have to spend extra money on these health supplements. You just didn't think you could afford them. So what were the challenges and the struggles? Some people have a really big why. They have a really big, detailed challenge or experience that they had. Some people had cancer. Some people had a car accident. Some people had surgery. Some people had got divorced. Some people, had issues with their kids' behaviors in school. That's what led them to decide, this is the day that I'm going to make a change in my life, in my family's life, for our health, for our finances. So what were the experiences? What were the challenges? What were the struggles? Again, you want to focus more on the positive here. Nobody wants a Debbie Downer, so you want to focus more on the positive. But this is going to lead you to be connecting and relating to others. Some people say, I don't have a big why. You do. Everyone can connect to why you are so passionate about your business. So someone who has this big, huge, life-altering story, this life-altering background that led them to where they are, that might be great, but if they're not passionate about it, they're not going to be as relatable. So even though you may think, well, I don't have this huge, testimony, if you're passionate about why you're doing what you're doing, everyone can relate to that. It doesn't matter the severity of the experience. Sometimes it's just, somebody could say, you know what? It was my boss, and they told me that I couldn't take a week off for vacation. And I said, that's it. Enough is enough. I want to be able to spend time with my family and go on vacation. Or do you know what I mean? I mean, it doesn't have to be, some people may find that trivial. I think that's a big deal, not to be able to have time off with your family. But it's the emotion that you feel. What matters is the depth of the emotion. That's what is going to lead you to where you are now. And that's what you have to figure out so you can share with others. You need to write down specific details that recall the emotions that you felt. Okay, so this is the framework you need to follow, okay? There's 3 main key points for the framework to follow. The first thing was what was lacking in your life before you joined your biz. And you guys, share this with your teams. This is definitely duplicatable. You can share with your teams, your brand new ambassadors. They just don't know where to start. This is the framework to follow. And if you've been in this business a while, listen, I've been doing this biz for a minute, and this was a great breath of fresh air to be able to kind of reintroduce how I can connect to people, new potentials or people that I've been talking to for a while that just haven't, jumped the fence. This is a great tool for anybody, no matter where you are in this business. So number 1, what was lacking in your life before you joined the business? Was it purpose? Was it time? What was it? What was lacking? Number 2, can you give a specific example that was a turning point for you? So some people, again, I'd said, some people say enough is enough. I'd had it. I was up to here in debt. I was up to here in health problems. I was up to here in not being able to see my kids, tuck my kids in. I was missing, too many baseball games. I was missing church. I had to work every weekend. So give a specific example. And number 3, how did that experience make you feel? So again, we're getting to that relatable aspect of it. People can relate to how you feel. So sometimes it can get a little personal, and that's okay. Sometimes we don't like to be vulnerable because, that's a big fear that people have. But how did the experience make you feel? You can say something like, I felt powerless. You can say, I knew there must have been something, more for me that was out there. This is what's going to wake up the idea that there must be a better way. So how did it make you feel? You have to put a feeling to it. So the first 3 things that I just went over, that's more of the setup. So now we need to connect the dots. So you've answered those 3 questions. You've jotted your notes down. So now that's the setup. Now let's connect the dots. So how does your business provide a solution or a problem that you had? So how does your business provide a solution and solve the problem that you had? So this should take you no longer than like 90 seconds. I know you guys have taught, some of you may have heard someone say elevator speech. This is your elevator speech, meaning an elevator doesn't take very long. So you have to write these notes down. You have to think about it for about 30 minutes. Don't take all week to think about it. Write the notes down and practice it. Practice whenever someone says, if they come up to you and say, hey, what's this business about? What are you doing? What are you up to? What is this cult that you've joined? You can give your 90-second elevator speech because you've got the points down. You're clear, you're concise, you got to practice it. So don't spend any more than 30 minutes writing this down, okay? So you're going to put it out there and you're going to deliver it. And the more you do it, the better you will get. I use this example a lot. No one ever showed. So I'm a nurse, and listen, I didn't know how to give a shot the first time someone put a needle in my hand, a shot in my hand. I didn't know how to draw blood the first time. I didn't know how to do staples on a C-section. I didn't know how to do any of that kind of stuff. The first time that someone asked me to do it, you have to practice it, but you got to show up and start doing it and practice it. The more you do it, the better you will get. That is true for anything in life. A surgeon, the first time he showed up, he didn't know how to do surgery. He had to be taught, and then he practices. Okay, so write this down. This is a big deal. Say less to more people. You guys, that was one of my biggest problems. Elizabeth, I don't know if you have that. I vomited Plexus on people because I was so excited. Did you do that too?
Oh, yes.
So
long messages, long everything.
And did you find that some people kind of shied away and kind of was like, oh, I'm a little standoffish because they just were like, whoa, that's a lot of information?
I don't know. Usually if I wrote a novel, I didn't even reply.
So I guess there's your answer, I guess, right there. But this is something that I'm learning, because you guys, if you guys don't know me at all, or if you do, you'll know that I'm a talker. Love it. My mom likes to talk. My dad likes to talk. I like to talk. It is a problem I'm working on. I'm trying to learn. You guys, I'm preaching to myself. I'm trying to learn to say less to more people. So whenever someone says, oh, no thanks. You shared before, you said too much. They're like, no thanks. Well, no's never no forever unless they have a restraining order on you. No is just no, not right now. Maybe they didn't know enough. Maybe it wasn't the right time. But no is never no. It's just maybe not right now. So you're going to go back and you're going to make a connection with them. You're going to talk to them. You're going to reconnect with them about their life, about their kids, about their job, about, y'all having high school memories together, whatever it is. You're going to go back and make a reconnection with them. And so this is where we're going to start talking about the purpose-driven prospecting. This is the process, okay? There's three things. There's three steps to this process. Number one is you're going to lead with your why. Number two, you're going to share a third-party tool, and I'm going to go over all this. And the third thing is set up a Facebook group chat, okay? So number one, lead with your why. Number two, share a third-party tool. Number three, set up a Facebook group chat. So there's creative interpretations, Bob likes to say, and this is really, we're fearful about reaching out to someone for lots of different reasons. And so we're going to make up a story, because failure tells us that your story is disempowering, okay? So fear is such a liar. Fear is going to keep you from reaching your goals. It's going to keep you from advancing. It's going to keep you from doing anything that's really worthwhile because of fear, because it's all about us. Fear keeps me from doing things that I know that I should do because I'm afraid of what someone's going to think of me. I'm afraid I'm going to lose friends. I'm afraid I'm going to get defriended. I'm afraid, people are going to avoid me, at the grocery store. I'm afraid of how it's going to affect me. But this cannot be about me and what I'm afraid I'm going to lose, because that's when I start, having those creative interpretations. And that's when I'm going to start what he calls having a red light. So there's red lights and green lights. And those red lights are what we tell ourselves. That's what fear comes in. And so you can say, well, here's a red light. So I don't want to reach out to Susie because, I haven't talked to her in several years, and I don't want to bug her, and I don't want to think that I'm just, using her, to get a customer. I don't want to offend them. I don't want to annoy them. They're rich enough, they drive nice cars and have a nice house, and they don't need the products because, they're healthy, and she's a, triathlete, and she's thin, and, so those are some red lights. That's why we're not reaching out to people. So we tell ourselves those stories, those red lights pop up, and we don't reach out. And that's not going to get us to our goal. That's not going to get us to where we want to be, to where we feel like we should be. Those red lights are going to come up, and it's going to hinder us. So that's when you have to make a conscious decision to turn those red lights into green lights. So this is something that you can turn those red lights around, and you can say, so it's been several years since I've talked to Susie. Well, she's just as guilty as I am for not reaching out. And, I really enjoyed hanging out with Susie. We had a great time. So this is a great opportunity for me to be able to reconnect with her. Don't bring up the business first. Don't bring up the products first. Bring up your relationship. How are things going? How's your job? do a little, recon, look at her Facebook profile and see what she's been up to, see what she's, where she's working, what are her hobbies, what was the last trip she went on. So reconnect that way. And because she's just as guilty as you are for not reaching out. So rekindle that connection. And then as far as the green light goes, you can go a little further and say, this is a great opportunity that we can reconnect and we can hang out again. It looks like she has a nice job. It looks like she has a nice house, and it looks like she has driving a nice car, but she may be drowning in debt. She may not want to be spending 50 hours a week, at work. Maybe she has to take call. Maybe she has to, work weekends or work nights, and maybe she doesn't like that schedule. I have something that, she needs. I have the product she needs. I have the business that she needs. I have something that she needs. This could help us reconnect because I really liked hanging out with her. This is a great opportunity that we can be business partners and we can do this together. You see what I'm saying? You see how I took those red lights and I turned them into green lights, and you just got to put yourself out there and do it. You have to change your approach of how fear is keeping you from reaching out. You've got to change that mindset. It's a conscious decision. You cannot wait until you feel like all the doors are open and it's a good time. I don't want to annoy her. You've got to just reach out, turn those red lights into green lights. Anything you want to add to that, Miss Elizabeth? Oh, you know what, Elizabeth?
No, I think that was perfect.
You do you remember one of the calls that we were watching and someone was talking about rotten apples? Do you remember?
Oh yeah, I can share that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, whenever we're all kind of trained to make our list of people. And I love this analogy because I used to be a huge people pleaser and wanted affirmations from people all the time. But you want to think of your list like a big basket of apples. So it's just a great way to think about your whole list of names. So you've got your green apples, you've got some red apples, and guaranteed in that list, there's going to be some rotten apples. So the biggest thing you want to think about is you need to sift through the basket. So you're going to reach out to someone and they say about the vast majority between like a 2 and a 7. So they're not quite ready to jump on board, but they're not opposed to it. So those are your green apples. Your red apples are those that are open. They are wanting the opportunity. They're looking for something. The timing is just right. That's about 10% of the list of names that you've gone through red. And then all of us have had those rotten apples that can spoil. Don't get them out immediately. And I don't know about y'all, but sometimes when you get those rotten apples, it kind of freezes you in your tracks. You quit for the day, or you might quit for the week. You might quit for like a month and not reach out to anybody because that one rotten apple just totally spoiled all the rest of the apples. So the biggest thing that he taught us too, his advice. So say if someone, writes you back or just says something rude, which we've seen, where they're like, oh, of course you want me, for your business. And is just honestly just release them. He even trained us not to counteract them, but just say, okay, you may be right. Good luck, and just move past and get rid of that rotten apple immediately. Because the best way to get over that rotten apple is action. So anytime you have those moments, just keep working. You're going to find those red apples, but we all have those rotten ones. So just keep that in mind when you're going through your list and you're reaching out to different people.
Absolutely. And the next thing that I want to talk about, and you guys, just to back up a second. So I already told y'all I'm an emotional person. That used to really hurt my feelings when someone would challenge me or say something ugly about what I'm doing and what I'm so passionate about. But I have to kind of think about it and think about, my conviction and my passion that I have for my relationship with the Lord, with me being a nurse, with my children. If someone were to come up to you and say, your kid's dumb or whatever. Well, I know that's not right. I know my kid's not dumb. So someone telling me my kid is dumb, I feel like that's just, they're misinformed. They don't know what they don't know. So I had to make myself kind of shift my mindset. And you guys, I still have to kind of daily, whenever someone's ugly, or whenever someone doesn't respond to my message to them, I see that they've seen the message and they don't say anything. They don't even say no thanks or anything. I have to just keep moving. If someone's really ugly, just like Elizabeth said, you have to bless and release them, because there's other people out there. It's a numbers game. There's other people out there that need what we have, business and products. Sometimes people just want a community. Some people just want a relationship. Maybe they're stay-at-home moms and they don't get out, and they would love to have a relationship with other women, guys with other guys. I don't feel like they need that as much as we women do, but sometimes you just need that community. So some people are just looking for that. Okay, you guys, the next thing is sharing your why. So step 1, the goal is to share your why with as many people as possible. So you want to make sure that you do this in a live interaction. Do not pre-record a video of you. Do not pre-record the Facebook, the Messenger, on Facebook Messenger. Don't pre-record that. People will smell that a mile away. That is not authentic. You can do a phone call. You can do a video chat. That's fine. You can do a voice message, but don't let it be pre-recorded. Make sure it's a live interaction. If you're going to do a Facebook voice message, that little microphone, you hold your finger down on it and it'll record you on Facebook Messenger. That's fine to do, but do not let that, Bob says, don't let that be the first contact, because it's kind of creepy. If the first time you're messaging someone, you haven't talked to them ever, you've never sent them a Facebook message ever, don't let it be, or even a text message. You can do a voice text, like you can record your voice on a voice text. Don't let that be the first interaction. Talk to them with a text, okay? Or a phone call. Let that be the first contact that you have that way. So he says that once you're kind of back and forth, you get the conversation going, then you're going to transition. You can send them a voice message then. But it's going to be uncomfortable. That's okay. Hey, life is not all baskets of kittens and cakewalks. It's okay to be uncomfortable. That's where you grow, is whenever you face your fear, get over being uncomfortable. I mean, what's the word? Okay, so I give shots every day. I do think I'm an OBGYN nurse, and we have to do things that are uncomfortable for us to do, uncomfortable for the patient sometimes. But you know what? You know what I tell, especially some of these, even some grown women, but sometimes I have to tell these girls before I give them their shot, okay, what's the worst that can happen? Let's because they're squirmy, they're jerking, they're getting scared, they're crying, they're acting crazy. I'm like, listen. And some of these are grown women. I said, listen, what's the worst that's going to happen? Are you going to die? And they think about it and they're like, well, I might. No, you're not. You're not going to die. It may hurt a little, but that's okay. I've never lost anybody yet. So let's get through this. Pull on a big girl panties and let's get through this and let's do it, okay? So it's going to be uncomfortable, but that's okay. Don't overthink this part, okay? As far as sharing your why, don't overthink it. Just do it. Even if you don't think someone is the right prospect for you, this could lead you to someone who is. So don't ever assume that someone's not going to be a good prospect for help or for finances. You never know who they know that they could share this information with, and you never know how that person's situation can change, and they may need the business or they may need the health products later. Actually, everybody needs the health products, but their health situation can change. Okay, so there's 2 different approaches to sharing your why. There's a direct approach and an indirect approach. So the direct approach, again, do not copy and paste this. Just, don't get bogged down in my wording. I'm going to give you some wording. Just kind of, make this your own. Make it to, especially, once you've transitioned into sharing your why. If you want to use a voice message, that's fine. Just kind of make it your own. But if you don't use a voice message, this is what the advice that I give. If you're texting this or you're typing this out in Facebook Messenger, you want to type how you talk. So if if you're not using 6-letter words when you're talking to someone, if they're sitting right next to you, then don't use 6-syllable words whenever you're texting someone. Don't be too professional. Do you know what I mean? Talk to someone like you're having a conversation. So here's the direct approach to sharing your why, okay? Here we go. Something like this. Say, I would love to share my why with you. I'd love to share, scratch that, don't use why. Say, I would love to share why I got started, because people don't know what your why is. They don't know. So say, I would love to share with you why I started my biz in the first place. Say, I've never really had a chance to do that. It may or may not be for you, but would you be open to letting me do that? And with a question mark, okay? I'd love to share with you why I started my business in the first place. I've never really had a chance to do that. It may or may not be for you, but would you be open to letting me do that? So that's non-threatening language, okay? Especially for those of us, we don't step on any toes. We don't want to be rejected. That's non-threatening language, okay? You want to be authentic. You need to first be conversational with them. And then we're transitioning into sharing this, okay? Sharing our why. But don't use, kind of share my why with you. Share why I started my biz in the first place. Here's the indirect approach. That was the direct approach. Here's the indirect approach, okay? Something like this. I know you aren't interested in the business, but I just wanted to ask you a huge favor. Now, who doesn't want, side note, who doesn't want to do a favor for a friend, right? Or even an acquaintance or a colleague. Usually when you say, can you do a favor for me? Usually, unless it's, giving a kidney or something, people are going to say yes. So I know you aren't interested in my business. I just wanted to ask you a huge favor. Would you give me the opportunity to tell you why I started my business? The reason is I'm looking to expand my biz, and I wanted to see if you knew anyone that comes to mind that might be right for this business. Would you be open to that? Again, we're ending with a question. So human nature is we want to always answer. When someone asks us a question, we want to answer. That's just how we're wired. So I know you aren't interested in my biz. Go ahead and admit it. I know you're not. You already told me no. I know you're not interested. I just wanted to ask you a huge favor. Would you give me the opportunity to tell you why I started my biz? The reason is I'm looking to expand my business, and I wanted to see if you knew anyone that comes to mind that might be right for this business. Would you be open to that? So here's one of the beauties of this approach. So you have someone who told you no thanks. And then you're going to share if they say yes, sure, you can tell me and I'll keep my eyes and ears open, for referrals. And you can even say, I love referrals. That'd be great, somewhere in there. But always end with a question. Would you be open to that? Here's the great part is that, so you're going to share with them why you got started in this business, and they're going to possibly realize, wow, I didn't know that. Like, that sounds something good that I might be interested in. And if you talk about the products, wow, I didn't know that it could help with that, with digestive issues and sleeping issues and with energy and with sugar balance. And wow, I had no idea. Like, now I'm interested. Do you see what I'm saying? So even though they said no, by you being able to share to where they can pass it on to somebody else, it's going to turn a light bulb on for them. They're going to have that light bulb moment and say, wow, wait a minute, maybe I'm interested. So it's twofold. So it's great. So you have the direct approach and the indirect approach to sharing your why. So sharing your why is the first step, okay? So now we're on to step 2. Remember I told you there's 3 steps? So here's step 2 is sharing those third-party tools. You need to keep this simple. The reason we need to keep this simple in sharing the third-party tools is because when they do say, yes, I want more information, you share that third-party tool. It's simple. It's easy. Why is this important? Because it's duplicatable. Because then they can say, wow, I don't have to memorize, 50 pages worth of information to share with, me potentially getting a team of my own. Absolutely not. This is simple. This is duplicatable. I didn't go to school for, business or marketing. I'm a nurse. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I'm not that special, but I can learn this and so can you. That's why it's so important to keep this simple. So you're going to share your third-party tool. What is a third-party tool? It's simple. It's anything except you. So you could do, you could share a video with them. You need to keep it short, 3, 5, 10 minutes at the very most. Depends on who the person is. But 3 to 5 minutes, usually, everybody, all of us, we all have ADD now apparently, and we can't stay entertained for very long. So you have to have a very short video. Again, depends on the person. Some people are very green and they like the details. They like, research and things like that, fine. Send them a little bit longer video. Again, it just depends. So it could be a video. A third-party tool could be a sample. It could be a written testimony. It could be a phone call, with a friend or a teammate, or even with a family member that whether your prospect knows them or not, that family member already has a great testimony, how it helped their health or how it helped their finances. That's a great third-party tool. So your third-party tool should give someone enough information to where they can quickly tell if they're interested or not. So we're sorting. We're not selling this yet. We're helping them to sort, okay? So you've got to give them enough information to where they can make a decision quickly to know if they're interested or not, okay? We're not vomiting Plexus on them. You got to think about what would be the best third-party tool for this person, for what they're looking for, what their personality is, what you think would speak to them. Again, keep the videos short. And with testimony. Okay, so if you're sending a third-party tool that's a testimony, I have been told that if the testimony on the phone, they're looking at on their phone, if they have to scroll their thumb up more than once, they're probably gonna be like, I don't want homework, like that's too long. So keep the testimony short as well if it's a written testimony on their phone, okay? Okay, even when leading with the product, be sure to use the third-party tool. So even if you're, it's great to be able to lead with the business, but if someone maybe approaches you, wants to know, hey, what are you drinking? Tell me more about that. You still want to send them a third-party tool even about the products. Because then you can still go back to how you felt when you got started. So even though, the products, again, that's the hows and the why. I mean, the hows and the, it's how, and the benefits of it, but it's not connecting an emotion with it. You can still go back and connect that later. And before you share a third-party tool, like they say, yeah, I want more information. Before you share that third-party tool, you want to say, if I, would you? So you're going to say, if I send you this video, do you think you'd be able to watch it today? So you want to set up a specific time to follow up, because one, it holds them accountable, and two, it's for me, it's holding me accountable to be able to go back and follow up with them. So you want to set a time. And if they say, you know what, I'm busy, I'm not going to be able to get to it till this weekend, say, great, no problem. I'll follow up with you on Sunday. Do you know what I mean? So it kind of gives them some time to look at it. You can write on your calendar, follow up with Susie on Sunday, and so you don't miss them. So you can say something like, great, when do you think you could check it out? It's only about 3 minutes. I'll follow up with you tomorrow, or whenever it is. You don't want to chase them. Set up that time to follow up. The third step, okay, is the Facebook group chat. So this is something that Bob made sure that we understood, and I think that it's a great suggestion. You want to ask them before you introduce them in a three-way chat. And if you guys don't know how to do that, that's when you go on Facebook Messenger and you can add people at the top right-hand corner. You can add people. And if you want more information, message me or your upline or whatever, and they'll show you how to do a three-way chat on Facebook Messenger. Or you can do a three-way phone call. That's great too. But before you add anybody, you want to say, are you okay if I introduce you to my mentor to help answer any questions? We don't want to be spammy. You don't want to just throw someone in a group chat or, call someone off the cuff and say, hey, I've got my mentor on the phone. What questions do you have? You want to ask them their permission. Make sure they agree first. If you don't have an upline that's working the business, then you can ask a sideline, a teammate. Or if you need to go above your direct upline, if she or he is not working the business, you can go above them and say, hey, do you mind to get on this three-way chat? I have this potential, I'd love for you to be a great resource. They know how this works, so just ask them. It'd be a great resource for you. And what was I going to say? I forget. I'll come back to it later. Just totally flew out of my mind. Elizabeth, did you want to add anything to that on the Facebook chat?
I think the biggest thing I really appreciated about the third-party tool is I think a lot of times I have, same thing with, I wasn't very condensed. So I would, someone would say they would be interested, and I'd give them this whole huge dissertation. Well, I think no matter what, they're probably thinking this is a lot of work that you're having to go through to get all this going. And so I really did like the idea of the third party tool just being something quick but also duplicatable so that they can see, I don't need to retype or copy and paste this like 5 paragraphs about the triplex. So I appreciated that a lot, and I've been using that a lot more.
Absolutely. And another thing, just to add to what you're saying, Elizabeth, when you are sharing with someone, you want to play ball with them. So if you can imagine playing ball, you ask them a question, they're going to respond. You give them some information, ask them another question, they respond. You see what I'm saying? So you play ball back and forth. Again, just like what Elizabeth said, what I've said, you dump everything. If they give you that green light and say, yes, I want more information, we dump everything on them. You can't do that. Have a conversation back and forth, back and forth. I remember I was going to say about the three-way chat, whether it's a phone call or a three-way Facebook group chat. How you introduce your upline, do not use the word upline, because that sounds, I mean, you can do what you want, but that's my recommendation. Don't use the word upline because it sounds kind of cold. It sounds like, it just sounds too business-like, so you want to be warm. You want to maybe introduce, say, hey, this is my friend, Elizabeth. She's been doing this business a little longer, she's been doing this gig a little longer than me. I just wanted to introduce you to her. She's a great resource. Let me know what questions you have and we'll answer them together. Or you can say, this is my mentor. This is my mentor, Elizabeth. Just wanted to introduce you to her and, let her know if you have any questions. She's a great resource. If you introduce your prospect to your upline or your whoever, your mentor, whoever your sideline, whoever it is in your third party, your three-way chat, and nobody says anything, keep an eye on that Facebook group, because you can go back maybe a day later, go back and just say, hey guys, just want to make sure, y'all saw this message or whatever, and pop that back up to the top of their messages. Sometimes they can get buried. So don't just introduce your prospect and then, nothing ever happens with it. So you're going to get overwhelmed when you start doing this, when you start using these ways of sharing your why and reaching out to people, and you may get overwhelmed, and that's okay, because you're being active and you're pushing through your fear. So being overwhelmed is okay. That's actually a good thing. All this activity sometimes can be overwhelming. Do not worry about people falling through the cracks. You can always go back and follow up with them later. It's supposed to happen. This activity, this feeling overwhelmed, is supposed to happen. It's a good thing. Embrace it. You need to talk to your shareholders, especially whenever you start getting lots of interest and people have a lot of questions. You want to talk to your shareholders. Who are your shareholders? It's your spouse and it's your kids. They are your shareholders in this business. Sit them down, let them know what your dreams are, what your goals are, because they're going to be more apt to say, when it's time for a call like this. I tell my husband, he's my shareholder, I said, hey, I got to do this call. Can you help me? I have a 14-year-old and he's self-sufficient, but, with our 7-year-old, she just turned 7. For the last few years, he's been able to, get her bath and get her down, for bed and, read stories and homework and whatever he needs to do, because he understands what my goals and my dreams are. You include them in your goals and your dreams, your aspirations. They're in your bigger picture. They are in your vision. They are why you're doing what you're doing. So when you say, no, I can't do this, I have a call from, starting at 8:30. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna be able to, sit and watch a movie with you. Daddy can, pick up the slack for you, so to speak. Okay. Because they know why you're sacrificing. They know why you're doing what you're doing, because you've shared it with them. You've included them. So talk to your shareholders, get the support you need to work this business, and don't let those red lights keep you from making this the year that you do have that breakthrough with your vision, with reaching your dreams, with just becoming the person that you know that you could be. That sounds like a cliche and like a Hallmark card, but it is right on the money when the Army said, be all you can be. Because I know that I'm not all that I can be right now. And I would venture to say that most of us probably feel the same way. So don't let those red lights talk you out of not reaching out, not following up, because that is the only way. You have to push through those fears. You have to reset the way that your mind is speaking to you. So you have to take control. You have to really be, you have to be, all the words are just going right out of my head. You have to be intentional. That's the word, about the choices that you make, about the time that you spend, about the people that you follow up with, about the third-party tools that you use. So take a few minutes, jot those ideas down, jot down your why, what the emotions that you felt, what third-party tools do you like? You can go on, you guys, if y'all don't have a YouTube account, go on YouTube and create an account. It is free, and they have these folders, like a little library. And I have folders in my YouTube account that I have Plexus, I have motivation, I have preaching, I have hilarious. So when I just need to laugh, I'll just go, and you can just add these videos to your different libraries. And I have a whole library of just Plexus videos. And if you need like a quick, you can even have Plexus triplex videos. If someone says, hey, what's triplex? Hey, what's, this? Boom, you've got your library of these videos, and you can quickly give it to them. So take a little bit of time to get organized, and then just dive in and do it. Don't overthink it. When someone says to me, I don't know if I can do this business because I'm not a salesperson, fantastic. I'm not looking for salespeople. No offense to salespeople, but I'm not looking for salespeople. I'm looking for moms and dads that'll share and be relatable to other people, because I know that people want what we have. They may not know it yet, but if they can relate to us, because we're real. It's hard to relate to someone that you don't feel that you can never achieve what they have. You'll never feel like you have what they have to get where they are. Good, Jessica. I do that too. I message myself Plexus stuff too, because I'll forget where I found it if I don't. But you have to be relatable. We have to let our guard down just a little bit. Be professional. Don't be spammy. Don't be ugly about it. But we have to be able to push past the fear, because you guys, it's not about us. It is not about us. It is about whose lives we can impact. It's about bettering the lives of our families. It's about using Plexus as a catalyst to be able to, to help fund missions, and to be able to tithe more, and to be able to, help the homeless. You guys, Elizabeth does a fantastic job. I'll tear up if I allow myself. Elizabeth does a great job of giving back to the military, to firefighters, to the elderly. She is teaching her kids that it is not about them. And they are the most precious kids, but it is not about them. It is not about us. It is not about her. It's about how she can teach her beautiful, precious children at such a young age that they can give back to other people. I can't think of a better life lesson than to take the focus off of you and to share Christ's love, to share what we have with other people. So that is it. Thank you guys for joining us. Let me know if you have any questions.